Hi, I'm Howard Sublett with Solutions IQ, and we are live podcasting in beautiful Washington, D.C. at Agile 2015, and I'm joined today with Ellen Gottesdiener. Ellen, thank you so much for joining
Howard.
me today.
I'm thrilled.
I'm glad that you're here. Hey, you had a session Tuesday morning, and I have to read it because it has a lot of words in there. Intro to Agile Requirements, User Stories, and Backlogs and Beyond.
And beyond, yes.
It was like the Bed Bath & Beyond section. So,
without the bed.
How many hours was that session to cover all of that?
Oh, it was a 75-minute intro session, so it was pretty packed with information. And I hope everyone got value on.
So what was like? Was there a key takeaway through this? Because like I said, and somehow we're right in the middle of like a really big wedding or like a storm going through or something.
Or somebody's pulling something. Yeah.
Something really bad. Again, this is live. Did you have like a big takeaway in this overall intro? So you're kind of looking at practitioner level people coming in as kind of the beginning basics for them.
This is in the Agile boot camp. So people that are newer to Agile. And of course, the topic of Agile Requirements, people believe that Agile Requirements is an oxymoron, two opposite words. Sure. But in practice, doing requirements right is doing them in really more of an agile way. The key theme, I guess you could say, is that agile teams and organizations need to go beyond user stories and the backlog to discover the right product to build at the right time. And when I say discover, I mean the work that we're doing to explore, evaluate, and confirm that we have a shared understanding of the product before delivery. Yeah? So it's about strengthening that discovery muscle so that we make sure we really are building the right product at the right time.
Yeah, I'm hearing that as a recurring theme from several people that are kind of seeing some of the limitations in just the simple user story.
Right.
It's a placeholder for a conversation, but as companies get larger, they kind of skip the conversation part sometimes.
Yes.
And it just becomes a card or a requirements document in a way, or a work order, or whatever it is.
Or people get confused with stories and tasks.
Yeah.
The thing is that one of my pet peeves is when people say, somebody's got to write user stories, writing user stories. The point is not writing the stories. As Ron Jeffries has said, the story is a placeholder for the conversation. As you said, the thing is, though, that how do we have good conversations that are succinct and efficient and rich enough that we can figure out what is it that we're really needing to build that's going to be valuable, right? Mm-hmm. So we use this metaphor, and Mary Gorman and I have a book called Discover to Deliver, and we have used this metaphor of a structured conversation. And a structured conversation is the ongoing collaborative exploration of basically options that you have in a story. Because, if you take a story as a user, I need to do some action so I get some benefit or value. We're only looking at, from a requirements point of view, the user and the action. So
there's some other things missing there.
Other things missing there, and a lot of teams aren't conversing about the data, the roles, and so forth.
Yeah, I knew that there was one section in your session that you kind of drilled into kind of a structured way to have those conversations. I think we even brought something here about that. Your 7 product dimensions.
7 product dimensions.
So it kind of covers that, and that's how you're working to structure those conversations about user stories.
Right.
Okay.
So first we get a shared understanding of value, and then we take a story, or even could be a feature or an MMF, chunky story, and we use these 7 product dimensions to explore very quickly some options. Right. So when we look at the user, we're thinking about who or what interacts with the product. And not only humans, it could be another system or database or a device. What are the options? We look at the interfaces because the product has to connect in some way. And it could be a system-to-system connection. It could be a human-computer interface where we really want to do mock-ups and so forth. So we need to understand how the product connects to the user. We look at the actions, the actual capability the product provides. That's what most people think about when they think about stories, doing stuff, process, behavior. But you don't do process to nothing. You're acting on data, so that's the data dimension. And as I go, you'll see that we use a symbol and a color. We're using colors semantically, so they have meaning regardless of language.
Right.
We've been using this globally.
And your next is control, which is a red and a stop sign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rules, policies, and rules. Huh. And then the environment dimension is where's the user when they're interacting with the product, and what are the platforms, hardware, software standards. And some of our clients, and I'm sure people listening, build physical products.
Right.
So that's also the physical properties and access modes to the product. That's also environment dimension. And then the quality attributes, I have such a heart for those quality attributes because Agile teams forget them, or they're missing, they're lost, they're forgotten. They're like the last child in the playground picked. And these are the properties of the product, like, little things like security, reliability, availability, response time, performance. I'm being facetious because these are really, really critical.
Yeah, they're important stuff, yeah.
And they often need to be acceptance criteria either at a story level or an iteration or even release level for certain types of capabilities of the product. So this structured conversation, we use this as a framework, and we invite people to download. We have on the Discover to Deliver website, you can download the symbols and a whole options board. We have this discovery or options board. We put this up on the wall, and we have conversations about who are the partners and what is their value, and then we look at options, and the product person, product manager, product owner, in collaboration with the team, basically slices out options for value. And this is another pet peeve, and I've been tweeting about. People keep talking about splitting stories. That's very painful.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily, precise. If you take value as your slicing mechanism, that's the whole point of Agile.
Right.
Right? So we don't want to slice around some arbitrary means. We want to use what's the next most valuable thing to do for the product in the next delivery cycle. So, you may make some choices. For example, one client we work with, we were talking about the environment dimension. The environment is going to be a mobile device. The product was going to be released in a country that primarily uses Android devices. So one of the options was Android, another was iOS.
Right.
Let's not build to iOS yet, because we need to, first of all, validate that we can pick up customers, in that environment. So whereas normally the team might have said, we're going to build all the platforms and build it out and test it. No, let's go to the next most valuable thing.
I really like this, and it's not necessarily a prescriptive thing, but it's actually making you think about all the different facets that a product actually lives in. It's not like you said, a one-directional thing. It's not just a user in a vacuum.
Right.
It all has to have all of these. So
it's holistic.
Having this just even as an information radiator for in a user story workshop or a product ideation session to start thinking about when you start writing those stories, all of the different facets that story needs to live within. It would just be really, really powerful. And you said there's a website where people can get this at Discover to Deliver.
DiscoverToDeliver.com.
And this is a free download for everybody, right?
Yep, free download. You can go to the resource section under Creative Commons. We just asked, you keep the Creative Commons.
Sure.
So you have the source, and you can pull down the dimension symbols and information about the options board. And the other part of what we do is we do these discovery workshops. So we do this in the context of a facilitated session where we have the right people there. And by that, I don't mean stakeholders, I mean partners, product partners from the business, customer, and technology realm. So the conversation is holistic, the exploration is holistic. We've already, part of the conversation is having looked at what is value for those different partners, because value, it's in the eyes of the beholder. And sometimes, so we have to know who those beholders are
Absolutely.
and what they value, what's the highest value for the next delivery cycle. And that becomes like a sushi chef, has a nice sharp knife. We slice those options for value. And then we confirm, right, that just like people talk about, BDD, acceptance test driven development. So we want to use examples to have clear an understanding that we know that we delivered it right. But there's an old term that actually is an old term called validation that the lean startup community has grabbed onto, which is about building the right thing. So the other part of it is, say at a release level, how do we know, what are the metrics or the evidence that we've built the right thing? Some lagging indicators, leading indicators. So that's also part of the conversation, the structured conversation.
Wow, but I know you're an independent out in the space. This is what you do for a living. This wasn't not created in a vacuum. You use this in real clients. So
yeah, we've been using it for quite a number of years.
And this is part of like book 3 for you, is it?
Yeah.
Book 3 for you. A little prolific in the author area, aren't you?
Well, this one I had a lot of help. Mary Gorman and I put this book together, and we took a while to tune the practices. I mean, this is based on really doing it with many Agile teams and teams building commercial products, team building internal products, different scales of products, and it really works, and it's very engaging, collaborative. My heart and soul is about collaboration.
I know
The first book I wrote is Requirements by Collaboration. So I guess the work that we do gets at the joy that we get from real collaboration through focusing on our shared understanding of the product.
Right.
Because that's all, after all, that's what we're doing in the work.
Right. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. So if somebody wants to reach out to you for a workshop or for something else, how do they find you? How does somebody out there watching this find you?
Great. Thanks for asking that, Howard. They can go to our website, which is EBG Consulting, all one word, .com, ebgconsulting.com.
EBG. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I always appreciate the time with you.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.